Good morning, participants. I just woke up. Today is Monday, the day of added pressure, so we're gonna see how the day moves. I usually like to start my morning by either starting in the gym or this is Little Lake. I like just to go and walk by and let my thoughts organize themselves before I make movement. So it's this system that I kind of use to remain steady. So the world doesn't operate in a 1, 2, 3 format the way we really think it does. A great physicist named Richard Feynman said that you can measure a force by three different ways. Number one, if you push a force and it speeds up, then you're pushing it in the direction it's going. So imagine you're on a trust scale and you're at the middle of the trust scale and you step in one direction. Usually if you step in that direction, the scale is going to drop at a pretty fast rate, right? So that's the first way to judge a force. 2, if you push a force and it changes direction, means that the force was sideways. So imagine if you're on that scale, you start in the middle, you push a force and it speeds up, that's 1, right? Now, if you push a force and it changes direction, if you're in that one spot, usually if you go straight to 2, the scale is going to be sideways, so it's still going to cause some imbalance, right? 3, you can also measure a force by the measure of both forces, both sides, I should say. So you can measure it by if it speeds up or if it changes direction, right? So instead of going straight from 1 to 2 to 3, my framework works where if you start off in the 3 position and there's a need to go to the 1 position, you go to the 1 position and you return to your 3, right? Now, while you're at the 1 position and you return to the 3, something might fall on the 2 side. So you move to the 2 side and you come back to the 3. So you just build a rhythm where it goes 1, 3, 2, 3, right? So for me, the 1 represents micro interactions, meaning things that I feel, a lot of personal things in my life, right? It could just be me taking care of personal things. The 2 position represents macro interactions, like things that happen in the world, real life events. And then 3 is more so that reflective state. I call it my 3 state, my reflective state, my a state where you gotta go to God basically to see how do you measure both of these things, and what's the next movement after stillness. So, like I said, I might go to the lake, that'll be a 3. Then I'll go to the gym, that'll be 1, right? After I go to the gym, I might go back to 3. And then I'll go to work, that'll be 2. Then after I go to work, I might go back to the trail, which is 3. And then I go to the gym, that's 1. So it's usually always a 1, 3, 2, 3 pattern. And this, I'm not saying that this pattern will work for everybody. This is just a framework that I use to remain steady through the day, because usually the way your mind is internally, you kind of want to present those things externally for your brain to kind of rest on. A lot of times when we find like there's friction in our day, it's because the state of mind that we're in relative to our environment. But let's go ahead and get this day started, and let's go ahead to the lake, see what the frog's talking about. Yes, sir. All right, y'all. So I got my behind up out that car. It's time to organize. So today it's a regular weekday for me. You know, I got work. Um, Shout out to all my order selectors out there. Shout out to everybody working them long nights, slinging them cases. But yeah, this is a place where I like to come. It's not really like a park or anything. It's really just like a little pond, little lake. And I notification popped up. I just come out here sometimes and listen to the frogs. Usually the skies at night, the sky is usually clear, and it's a good place to end your day. I'm not gonna lie. Shout out to the people that live here. um, but yeah, it's a beautiful day. I just saw a falcon, the bird man. Yeah, shit. Right. We steady this morning. So as you can see, this is one of these quiet places for me. Um, like I said, my three place. I want to explain my. I said something about a 6 week, 6 month cycle. I know a lot of people probably like, what the heck is that? But at some point, I had noticed that I started to notice our relationship with the environment, and um, when I started internalizing, responsibility, internalizing, information, and just letting it basically let my mechanism absorb that information. I got to a point where, like I said, where I felt like I was at a limit where it felt like there was movement, but there was nothing that I could see, in a sense. So it made me think of a caterpillar, how it goes through different phases in its life, where it has to start off on the ground to kind of get an idea of the terrain, get a closer view. And as it gets to that information, it goes into the cocoon stage, and it internalizes, right? And before it internalize, and after it internalizes, um, it goes through a period of release, right? So essentially, whenever I move through these different phases, two is sort of my release, but it's really like there's no defined release point, right? So like I said, I'll go from the trail to the gym, to the trail, to the job, to the trail, to the gym, right? But it doesn't matter which order I start off. If I start off at two, then I'm still gonna go from two to three, from three to one, from one back to three. Um, so in life, there's always a period where you're a caterpillar, and you have to kind of go to that cocoon and see how it is, how life is between being a caterpillar and being a butterfly. And then sometimes you got to go be a butterfly and make moves. Sometimes you got to go back into that cocoon and then go back into being a caterpillar for a second. So with these 6 weeks, 6 month cycles, is essentially just to track my patterns, because I need to know how it is to work with me. Most people don't know how it is to work with them. People know they have their bad habits. They spend money on stuff that they don't need to, but they don't know how to recognize the pattern when they're in the pattern. So it's just to keep track of those things. And essentially, this is my first 6 week cycle. Um, so far I learned a lot about myself. Um, how you doing? So far we learning a lot. Not just about money, but like about life. That's why we here. Um, so essentially, what happens is after the first 6 week cycle, or after any 6 week cycle, the information from that cycle gets internalized, and it gets stored to my future movement. So it's almost like saving money in a sense. You go through the cycle, you learn your patterns, and you kind of use that as information for the next 6 week cycle. Um, and that for me is going to last for 6 months. For anybody, if you want to try something like this, you can create your own cycle. We're humans, so we can adapt to anything. It was just a number that I chose, um, and I believe this is something that I'm probably going to be doing for the rest of my life. To be honest, just to keep me grounded. My mother was saying how it's funny. My mom was saying how a lot of people they have these things. A lot of people go from that one state to the two state, but they have nothing to ground them. And for me, those trails, this lake, these places ground me, right? These places bring me back to the present, so that I can understand where we at. How do I deal with things in front of me if I can't observe things from multiple perspectives? You know, a lot of times we're seeing things through one perspective through multiple environments, and it's kind of like you're limiting yourself. Um, but yeah, today is gonna be this is day two. This is my second vlog, I should say. Day 26 in the first 6 week cycle of the first 6 month cycle. Um, so stay tuned. I'll probably chill out here for a little bit. I'm about to go into the gym after that. So last time I was supposed to catch some clips. Last time I was supposed to catch some clips of me in the gym, and I never got a chance to. Ended up being pretty tired, but this morning we're feeling pretty good. Today is the day of added pressure, Monday, so we're gonna go in there, get some work in, and try to keep it really essential, so to say. Spots that I know I need to work on, and then I'll probably head over to the trail, and we'll see what nature talking about. So stay tuned. Love. Hey, what's going on, participants? We're back. I just got out the gym. Um, I got to stop at a grocery store to grab a couple things, some cereal, um, and some ice for my cooler. And we're gonna stop by Walnut Creek wetland so we can organize these thoughts before we get into the rest of the day. But if you gotten this far, appreciate you for taking your time. Love. All right, guys. So the plan was to go to Walnut Creek, but you know, my baby needs some attention, so we're waiting for somebody to give us a jump so we can head up out of here. Yeah, day in the life. Appreciate that, brother, man. I'm recording my channel. You feel me? My bad. So. I don't know if you want to say what's up to the channel.
Nah, man.
Nah, I was about to say that's a little bit too much. I'm new to this. Jump box, a pretty hefty jump box, brother.
Yeah, just the battery, it'll start it right up.
Yeah. Yeah, I need one of those. Let's see what it's looking like. Just a second. Still waiting. She needs just a little bit of juice. All right. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Yes, sir. Have a great day, all right? Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. But, yeah, so we got the car jumped, so now we can head to the next stop. I'll catch y'all then. Is it recording? All right, guys, so we're on the way to Food Lion. I was just going, cut to the next scene, but what's the point of recording a day in the life if you can't really see what my day looks like, right? But yeah, we're gonna head over to Walnut Creek. It's Walnut Creek wetland. It's a man-made basically like a sewage system, damn near. Not a sewage system, but whenever it rains and stuff, all the water goes over there. So it's a bunch of vegetation, a bunch of different animals, turkey vultures, falcons, crows, turtles, all types of bugs and stuff like that. But yeah, so today I have work. Like I said, shout out to my order selectors. I don't really want to disclose the company, not that it matters, but I don't know how that goes. Like, I don't know if they're gonna penalize me or something like that, because I'm still learning this YouTube thing. Yeah, I was thinking about getting another phone though, so that maybe like while I'm in the gym, right, while I'm working out, I can be able to listen to music and still record. I'm gonna throw a couple clips in there, but while I was working out, I kind of had to. I still was able to keep my rhythm, but because with this camera, this little tripod setup I got, it basically has like a little remote. I'll show you. Let me see. So this is the little remote. I shouldn't be driving like this. It's the little remote that I use to start the camera. Little starter kit, you know what I mean? A little starter kit. It's a beautiful day. I don't think I really told anybody exactly where in the South I am. I'm in North Carolina currently. I'm in the Garner Raleigh area. If you're down here, you might see me around. Don't even notice. It's a small town vibe down here. Even though you might find a town where you got to go to the gas station and say 10 miles, 10 minutes. But yeah, I think this is a beautiful thing to be able to in a sense, not really study yourself, but like, learn yourself, document things so that you can make that adjustment. I used to watch some YouTube channels sometimes, on and off, and I would just think to myself like these guys actually have a platform where they can talk about some real stuff, but um, that was where I messed up. I'm sitting here thinking that what they talking about isn't important. It's not necessarily that it is important, but it's about being intentional. I see a lot of the content that I see being made it's intentional, but the intentions, I don't know. It's all preference based in a sense, as far as like the type of reality you want to live in. Um, this is not going to be like your normal fun all the time, games all the time type of channel, and it's also not going to be super boring. It's going to evolve to where you know I have plans to go out the country, and I kind of want to leave that as a surprise. Um, and you can just follow me in my cycles to just see what tracking your patterns where it can actually bring you once you actually know what you're working with, so that when you go out the country, you're not, you're making a whole nother adjustment whenever whenever I get there. I don't really want to have to be. I don't want to make too many adjustments. I just want to get to know the land, communicate with the new environment, which is an adjustment, but like, as far as the way of living, so the reason I'm kind of living out my car now and kind of doing things that I've already been interested in as far as nature walks and stuff like that is because whenever I go out of the country, I don't have to adapt to the way things are over there. I don't know if you ever heard the term to move like water and not be water. For me is to be the pen and not be the pen, right? So can I go over to these different countries and genuinely move like them, intentionally, in a sense, without necessarily being them? Um, but yeah, I just showed up to the what's this, Food Line. So I'm gonna go in here and grab my cereal and my ice, and we'll get back to it in a minute. And we'll get back to it in a minute. My bad. All right. All right, y'all. We done at Food Line. Had to stop at the smoke shop real fast. It's crazy. I let some guys know, and some guys from the smoke shop know about my channel, and apparently they watched it, and they was just basically showing love. Nothing extra, just love, man. And that's all I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to spread love. You feel me? Nothing that I'm going to be posting is going to be too dramatic. It's not going to be overly performative or performative at all. It's more so me just giving the world a different perspective. Some people might actually watch. Some people might not. Some people might take heed. Some people might not. But the key is to acknowledge presence among all of nature, for real, the people, the trees, stuff like that. I know I talk about this stuff a lot, but that's why I made this channel. But yeah, I'm not gonna tell you exactly the first spot that I'm planning on going to out of the country, but I will say what kind of the thought behind it is. One of my boys from the job even asked me, said, "What's the point of you going somewhere? Like, what exactly can you find over there?" And you always gonna have somebody that's gonna try to remind you or try to question to see if your moves are even intentional, or if you're just doing them out of a whim, so to say. And you don't need to prove anything to anybody, right? So all those people out there thinking about going somewhere, there's no need to prove to anybody what you're doing it for. The only thing that matters is that you know what you're doing it for. Wait, hold on. I thought I had my mic on. Let me pause for a second. All right, we should be good now. You guys should be able to hear me. Only reason I like the mic is because things that I talk about, like interpretation, language. I don't want to be putting things out into the world and people confuse it for one thing. Now I can't control how you process it, but I can control the way that I actually say it, the way it's heard. In a sense, I can affect those things. So the mic is just more so for clarity for those who can't follow my cadence, or maybe my accent is a bit strong. Um, but yeah, it's crazy. I'm passing my job right now. But we're gonna head over to Walnut Creek, see what the Falcon is talking about. See, every time I go there, the Falcons. It's not. I don't know if it's me. Like I said, I think it's just the environment. But they started letting it off. um, but it's interesting. The way you see nature interacts with each other, because it makes you think, like, are these things set for us all not to understand each other in a sense, like, or is there an ability to understand these things? You just have to be okay with things not being like, you have to be okay with that Falcon not speaking English, so to say. Like, you gotta be okay with the trees not literally talking to you. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Setup looking kind of like it needs some rearranging. I usually don't like to reorganize every single day because, especially like when I'm in travel mode. When I'm in travel mode, it makes me feel like things are unorganized, but really everything is just kind of back there, so I can see through the rear view, and so everything isn't flying all over the place. Um, yeah, I need to get a. I was thinking about getting a different truck, getting a bigger truck, not a bigger truck, but like maybe like a pickup or something like that. Um, the truck that I really want is in Ford Excursion, but it's gonna be a while before I get that. Most people don't really know why I want it, but that's for me to know and for you to find out. But yeah, let me. I gotta stop at this gas station to get some ice because apparently Food Line they didn't have any ice. So let me go in here real quick and grab this ice and stock up my cooler real quick, and I'll get right back with y'all. Love. Oh boy. All right. So just grabbed a bag of ice, filled up the cooler, filled up the food bag. That's usually the bag that I use during the work week. Before I just had just the bag, and I was basically trying to carry everything inside the bag, water, food. But I thought about just getting a styrofoam cooler. I think I showed you in the first video a styrofoam cooler, just so I can keep the bulk of my beverages, as far as waters and stuff like that, in there. And then on the weekends, I kind of just put everything in the styrofoam cooler. Um, just so it's less friction throughout my day. A lot of times we wonder why we are agitated through the day, and a lot of times it could be because things are unorganized. And sometimes it be in the way. Joker's just trying to get from point A to point B, so to say. But you all ultimately you need a grounding point, and these little things, these little components in the system become little grounding points for me, because especially living the way that I'm living, you want a proper transition. You don't want to feel like you just got. Imagine just coming to work and feeling like you. As soon as you get to the job, you gotta clock right in and get right to work. So these things help me to ground. So essentially, even when I get to the job, I'm there 20 to 30 minutes before the shift even starts, eating me a sandwich, before it is even time for me to work. And sometimes we need those grounding moments just so that it can keep us steady throughout the day. Um, let's see. Walnut Creek. I'm probably gonna eat a bowl of cereal and then probably go for a walk. Bring me a little orange with me. Nothing too crazy. Shampoo, damn. And yeah, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and continue to participate. I know y'all gonna get tired of me calling y'all some daggone participants, but trust me, it'll grow on you. All right, so let's put the orange in there. Give me an orange. I don't know if you ever had these. Can you see me? I don't know if you ever had this fruit. It's a mango. I think it's called like a tufo, some shit. Excuse my language. Something like that. Let me see. One of these. I ain't gonna lie, like if you could find them and they're fresh, they're pretty good. But sometimes I find them and it looks like it's been like a worm or something crawling into it, which is another reason why I'm ready to travel. But I'm sure there's plenty of spots down here I just haven't ran into yet that have some good fruit. Grab some cereal and 2 options. Damn, we can't even see. Apple Jacks, cinnamon toast. I usually go with cinnamon toast, and I'm going to go with cinnamon toast. Let's see, grab me a spoon. I'm just gonna eat this cereal, and I'll probably make me a sandwich, like I said before I start work, just to keep it light, and just so I'm not rushing to do a bunch of stuff before I go into work. Try to sit you down for a second. But yeah, I like to come here to just reflect. Sometimes I record videos here while I'm going for a walk. But I try not to record too many videos while I'm in nature, so I don't feel like I'm extracting from the environment. But usually if I do record, it's because I'm in a moment where I'm realizing something, I'm processing something, I should say. And for me, recording has been a lot better than a lot better. I don't want to say than writing because nothing is really better than writing. Um, but I guess then sometimes it could feel a lot better than speaking to somebody else. Not that other people can't provide presence, but sometimes there's less pressure when you kind of can sit there and listen to your own thoughts. Trying to organize all of this stuff so it can stay cool while I'm going for my walk. Take this water out. Okay. Let me just try to keep that closed up. Some cereal. Let's see. Can you see? See, I'm gonna grab me an orange real fast. I should have grabbed it while I was on this side already, but things happen. All right, all right. Yeah, so usually on Mondays, like I said, it's added pressure. So usually that's when things like you know, bills that might be coming up, getting my body back adjusted into the work week, getting my mind adjusted into the work week, getting my car adjusted, you know. Right now I have a leak. I think it's a head gasket leak. So every day me and my car have to hydrate. Every day. Like I said, my battery died, so you know, these different pressures are gonna this is what I'm starting my week with, you know. Also with this fly, it's a pretty strong guy. But oh yeah, while I'm here, in the comments, drop a couple destinations that you guys recommend going, whether it's in the country or outside the country. Just want to see some input. Hey, this cereal, man, and it feel good. So a lot of you may wonder where I get the name Steady Pen from. Wow, Jesus. Anyways, um, a lot of you may wonder what the name Steady Pen means to me. And I don't know if you ever heard the 48 Laws of Power, or even Bruce Lee says it or said it. To be able to move like water but not be water. For me, it's to be able to move like the pen, but know that I'm not the pen. Essentially, I'm the words. God controls the pen. But it's on me to move through life steadily, just as if I was a pen. It's on me to remain the word, regardless if the pen creates me or not, so to say. You know. And for me, steadiness isn't just being still. It's remaining consistent through environments, right? Right. I believe language remains consistent through environments, but um, people do as well. A lot of these things. It's amazing how connected we are with things. I want to say in nature, even though we're a part of nature, but things that we kind of disconnected ourselves from. Um, I'm sorry. Oh, dropped cereal top. But yeah, to be the pen and know that you aren't the pen. I want to know if like I said, go into these environments, see if I can move like imagine people that live in the Middle East. Like imagine, could you live like them and not want to come back to the U.S. in the sense, not even not want to, but like could you still remain steady through that? I'm not trying to put myself in no war. I just want to see what can remain consistent through these different changing environments, even though when I go to them, I'm kind of looking from the outside looking in until I kind of can match the pattern of the environment. But it's all a process. Even down here in North Carolina, I don't want to say it took me a while because I had already lived here back in 2019. But as things kept moving, as time went on, and I was able to match the pattern, you know, things just became less less heavy, so to say. A lot of time we spend most of our time trying to keep up with this system, right? The whole time you need to be able to keep up with yourself. It's funny how big of we talk about influence. Like, look how big of an influence the daggone US has on people, right? People constantly extracting from their brain every day with no period of true rest. We still think that a day is freaking 24 hours. And I'm not saying that it's not 24 hours, but I feel like things can't be this simplified. We go through these little small periods of 24 hours constantly being stressed out within this 24 hours, like all this stress compressed and then no time to really process it. So I'm on a journey to see how does God want us to live, and I won't know this from my own perspective. I have to understand through seeing how different environments and different people in these environments interact with their environment. I know that was a lot, but essentially, if God is one, then that means I don't have to go to just to Africa just to see how I'm supposed to live, you know? If God is one, I need to see how people in Europe live, how people in Asia live, how people in daggone Alaska, Australia. See if I can withstand that, because that's what God made us for, right? Not just to withstand it, but to be able to be steady through it, right? Not given to impulse, not given to the pressure, right? Yeah. And still be curious. Imagine you somewhere in the middle of Africa and you over there, no food, no barely any clothes, and you out there worrying about nature and stuff like that. Could you see yourself doing that? Like, could you stay steady through the pressure? Nah, I do want to record some more, a little bit more, not really interactive, but like a little bit fun videos. Um, Damn, once I get my camp set up and stuff like that, it's like it's a bunch of campsites a little bit north from here, and I'm probably gonna every once in a while I'm gonna make a couple different videos from there. Most of the videos I'm gonna make are gonna be outdoorsy, outside in nature, because this is me, you know. But yeah, let's get into this walk actually. All right. Wow. I'm not sure if I caught that, but yeah, they have a bunch of different vegetation here. You can still hear they always greeting me. Um, yeah. Let me see. The walk in is kind of nice. Let's see. It's more so you have to be here to get the feel, you know. And also, this is like this isn't one of my traditional trails, you know. I have trails for different kind of feels. Like this trail has a path, and for me, sometimes when I first came to this trail, it kind of made me feel disconnected from nature. But then it also let me know how close we are to nature. Like I said, and none of this is different from each other, right? All of this is man is a part of nature, so whatever we put out here is gonna still, in a sense, be a part of nature. It's just this is just a place to kind of where I get to reflect. I kind of get to ground, you know, a little bit of mankind, a little bit of what God gave us, you know, a little bit of both in one. But usually I like to go to trails where basically, let me see if I can try to get a fuller body. There you go. Basically, I like to go to trails where there's a where you're kind of immersed into the woods. And check this out. This is like a cool little setup. I'm not sure if they kind of host cookouts or something like that there, or is that some type of stage? But it's kind of. Let me walk over here. Kind of cool. Let's see. See a little shade up under here. Oh yeah, it's a nice little environment right here. Let me set the camera up. Oh yeah. Nah, yeah, this is a nice shot. Um, I don't usually stop right here, but if I do stop right here, it's just to maybe I'll pray or It's just to kind of feel the little shade on the feel the shade for a bit, because it can get pretty hot down here in North Carolina. I think about 2 days ago it was about 104 degrees. So yeah. Um, let's see. Yeah, this is a nice little spot to come to if you want to sit down or stand in the shade. That's a good little spot for that. They got a couple benches directly in the sun, but hey, all of it is information, right? So, um, let's see. Nah, yeah. So I was thinking. I got a couple of things. Let me start with this real quick. One day I was peeling a mango, right, at a park, and when I went to throw the mango, matter of fact, I was at the job this time. I was peeling the mango at the job, and I kind of just dropped the peel, you know. But that's usually what I do because it's a mango. Um, One of my boys at the job, or one of my coworkers, I should say, um, he said, "Hey, you don't care if they say something to you." And I kind of like made a kind of thought to myself, like, say something to me about what, like, what are they gonna say? Is there something that they plan on saying to me? And he was saying, yeah, I mean, you just dropped the mango pill. I'm like, okay, it's a mango pill. And then I think it was a couple of days later, I was at the trail or at a park, and I usually do this anywhere I go, especially when I'm at the park. I throw the daggone mango pill, banana pill, orange pill on the ground because it's fruit, you know. Um, and I thought to myself, oh wow, I dropped something. I thought to myself, it's almost like they created a system, right? Essentially with resources to see who can be more disconnected from what's natural, right? So even you think about fruits and stuff, like a lot of these things have stickers on them, obviously you know, for shipment and stuff like that. But what that does is like you kind of the more things that we add to these stickers, all these labels, all these pesticides, like it makes it unsafe for us to give back to the environment that we took it from. Um, like for me, I'm allergic to pesticides. So any place that has fruit with pesticides, and most places do, I can't really eat it because I'm gonna have a daggone internal reaction. And like I said, that's another reason why I'm looking to travel, because a lot of the reasons why things are the way they are in the United States, and this has been like this for a minute, as far as like health, when it comes to health and mental health. But for me, I use fruit as a snack to supplement, all the honey buns and cakes that I usually like to eat. And um, what they do is they kind of make the most freshest fruit, right? So expensive. And then you'll go to your local grocery store, and for me, from my experience, most of the local grocery stores don't have very good fruit to me. Um, you might find a couple stores that might have a couple mangoes, or that's usually what I go for. If you got some good mangoes, I can rock with you. Yeah, so shout out to all the grocery stores if you got some good mangoes. But yeah. So essentially, yeah. Right. So they're creating a system to see how disconnected we can be. You think about whenever you litter, you got to pay $150 fee to litter. But if I throw a mango on the ground, I won't have to pay nothing. If I throw a mango peel on the ground, I don't have to pay nothing. I don't have to worry about destroying the environment, right? So they kind of psychologically get you into the rhythm of respecting their system, right? Don't litter. Whole time it's like, how did you know that I was eating something that was like, not degradable in a sense? I feel like they all, not saying they, you feel me, because like I said, I don't really judge people from the outside or just the emotion themselves, but more so just how things are working in that environment, right? Or an environment that we live in. Because sometimes people make genuine moves thinking that they're helping the benefit of people, but there could be whole time they could be just destroying the lives of many. Um, but imagine if there was no, we didn't have to have plastic around our food, or certain things, right? What if we found a way to to not just store food, but to create meaning within the process of feeding your mechanism, right? Excuse me. Imagine if you know how in Africa and certain parts overseas where people kind of all share eat from a pot, or like they might have a little plate, but there's no need for all of that extra stuff. I'm not saying that I know how everything is over there. I'm sure there's spots over there that they got a lot of garbage somewhere. But I'm saying they're trying to disconnect us, right? Um, it's almost like a daggone a wild wolf. Like it kind of needs to eat something real. It needs to be able to pull the meat apart from the body and stuff like that. But like for now, most dogs and stuff, they just, jokers just give them a chicken wing, and after a while, like you kind of take away what's natural, right? You want to still be able to adapt to environments, but you don't want to take away everything that you got. Where like it's almost like a muscle that you don't use for a minute. Whenever you got to use it, you're not gonna be you ain't gonna know what to do with it. Um, but yeah, that's primarily why. Um, Not primarily, but that's one of the reasons why going overseas matters to me, because I want to see the way people eat, the way they treat waste, the way they treat their environment as well. Because a lot of times we could look at these environments, and the environment could just be bountiful, and people aren't really taking care of the environment. A lot of people judge things from where they are. But obviously, overseas, most people know that they live a whole different way of life than over here. So I know there's a good percentage where people are actually taking care of the environment. Uh, my thing is, how do these things uh, can we have an effect on evolution? Now that we're kind of at the most conscious that we can be in history as far as life. We're the most conscious now. We over here creating AI and all of this stuff. Not me, but humans. And I would think, where does all of this stuff come into play? And I've been thinking that AI itself is kind of there to keep man in the flesh, so to say. If not in the flesh, as far as like you know only in the flesh, but like sort of keep us on earth. And kind of let that we're basically not we are, but in a sense, the higher forces are kind of trying to make us live on earth longer than we need to be. When God, I don't know if God planned for us to even live on earth in this form for that long. Um, and that long might still be a long time, but I mean, as far as like, what's a billion years to freaking how long the earth has been rotating. Um, or a million years, I should say. But no, I feel like I was talking to my mom the other day, and I was saying that I feel like AI could work if we kind of, like I said, whenever like power is relational. So I feel like if we created an AI that can sort of become this bigger filter, become this bigger bridge between our interpretation and understanding of God, then it can work. But the key is like, you know, it has to be of God, but it also has to be a way where people can understand the process without, because I feel like in order to kind of connect with God, you have to kind of connect with yourself first, right? You have to appreciate your life and your mechanism before you can be able to be a mechanism for Him. So I feel like if people are able to understand themselves enough, right, they can appreciate who they are and still know that this life is for His purpose, right? And a lot of times people want it to be one or the other. It's either for God or it's for me, right? Subconsciously, we could say it's for God, but it's for us, or vice versa. But like, you know, everybody's dealing with similar pressures, but there's nobody to communicate these things, right? And even when there is, there's constant noise across these airways. There's constant dysregulation being put out in order to keep people from what's natural, right? Go spend some time in the wood for a month. I bet you come out that woods sounding like Albert Einstein or something. I guarantee you. It's because the more we connect, the more we kind of build these communication lines within our system, and as we get more connected to them, we kind of see how things are without kind of, not saying that no one has to tell us, but it's like humans uh naturally build patterns, right? So like as you kind of learn what your pattern is and you grow close to your pattern, you kind of see, okay, God is still in this consistency. He's still in this, he's still in this pattern. It's just for me to remain solid within the pattern, because if I'm not solid, then He can't move through me. If I'm not steady, then God can't move through me in my life. So there's always a constant trying to find the right pattern, trying to find the right sequence of things that keep us steady, or that keep us feeling like we're doing this for Him or for something, you know. But I'm gonna just catch a couple shots of the walk real quick. I gotta go to work in a little bit. I'm gonna try to catch a couple shots of the trail real quick, and then I'll get right back to it whenever I get to the car. Love. All right, y'all. So I'm headed back to the car right now so I can get ready for work. It seems pretty quiet today. None of my little friends were crawling and running around today. So today seems to be a day where stillness is okay. But yeah, I'm gonna head back to the car, get all suited and booted, and then I'm not sure if they're gonna let me record at work, but once I get that confirmed, I'll either get back with you guys on break or lunch, I should say, and you might even be able to have some conversations with a couple fellas at the job, see their outlook on things in the world, and just continue to move through the day and stay steady. All right. So we'll get back to it, like I said, when I get to the job. Love.